receive a certificate for the participation. Therefore, we will get a follow-up email tomorrow with a download link. So then, the number is still growing, but I think we start. I will pass the word to Dr. Susanne Effenberger and of course to our today's speakers. Enjoy the session. Goodbye.
Yeah, hello. Also, a very warm welcome from my side. It's really amazing to see how many people are spending this afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on where you are in the world, with us. And really happy to see by the names that lots of people were returning to our sequel on aesthetic dentistry. And I'm very happy to actually are able to welcome two very dear colleagues and friends of mine that will share their knowledge and their clinical experience with you today. And as we talked last week a lot about improving smart aesthetics from bleaching, resin infiltration to composites, you probably have noticed that the part of ceramic veneers is was missing, and this is the topic of today's presentation by Professor Rafael Montialto, and he is a professor of general dentistry in a university in Fluminense, or the name is Fluminense. He lives in Niterói, and he's an expert in aesthetic dentistry and also in implant prosthetics, and he authored recently a very beautiful book about ceramic veneers that's full of very impressive cases that he treated, and that he did all the clinical procedures as well as beautiful photos. And I'm really happy to have him with us today, and also to welcome back Leandro, who gave the first lecture last week. And having said this, I would like to hand over to the two boys from Brazil, two beautiful cities of Brazil, and I'm really looking forward to your lecture. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Julia. Thank you very much, Susanne, for this nice introduction. It was a pleasure to meet many of you last week in the first part of this webinar. And today is a very special day because I have the opportunity to join here a very good friend of mine, Professor Dr. Rafael Montialto, that lives just here nearby, 1,200 kilometers away from Brasilia. I'm talking to you from really in the center of Latin America, here in the center of Brazil, in Brasilia. Rafael lives by the beach in the beautiful city of Niterói. All of you have heard of the city of Rio de Janeiro. He just lives the other side of the bay where he can have the best view of Rio de Janeiro that there is. And Professor Montialto, the CV, the curriculum Susanne presented. But what I can add is that that's something that I can truly say to you. He's one of the main aims today in Brazil on teaching the restorative part of dentistry and aesthetic dentistry in a very simple and predictable and a way. And that's something that I think it will add to all of us. So, Rafael, thank you so much for being with us this morning, and for complementing this webinar with this part 2 on ceramic veneers. I'm pretty sure you're going to have a very nice hour and a half now discussing this very nice topic.
Thank you for the words. Thank you, Susanne, for the introduction. For me, it is really a great pleasure to be here. It's very good to have big friends like you, like Susanne, because the introduction is more, how can I say, is more strong. Yes, is for me. I would like to speak English better, but I try to make myself clear, speaking slow to understand it for you. Thank you very much, TMG, for the invitation. And let's try to show our working, the things that we would like to work in our days, right? See, to help you to make veneers better. It's the idea. Leandro is my English professor. Then if I have any doubts, I will call you to help me. Please keep with me to try to share our
As we said a little bit earlier when we were setting up the details for this presentation, we're going to talk about ceramic veneers. And I'm pretty sure that you have some slides to show us, showing from where you come and the nice things that you do at the Fluminense Federal University there in Rio. And I think that one question that always comes up when we talk about ceramic veneers, first of all, it's indication, man. When do you do it? And why do you perform a ceramic restoration instead of what I showed last week, just a bleaching or a resin infiltration in some cases, or adding some composites in a strategic way? It would be very nice if you could share with us this in your introduction. And also, it's nice to say to everyone, to reinforce that if you place your questions in the Q&A box here of the webinar, I will be here while Rafael presents most of the cases today. I will be here checking the questions. And since I had the privilege of seeing the presentation before, I know where those questions can be placed in a very logical way, and then we can already answer your questions. So please feel free to place your questions here in the Q&A box, and I'll be checking them and questioning Rafael during his presentation. Then it will work very nicely our webinar this morning. Rafael, sorry for interrupting. I forgot to tell people that.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Leandro. It's a good question. How can I indicate the ceramic veneers or an example of composites? For me, it's very difficult to give this answer because, in my opinion, I don't have this answer. It's difficult. But I try to explain how can I choose the material in my daily practice. First of all, I think that depends of the profile of the professional. It's very important because if you have any teeth that you can do veneers, you can do composites. It's real. Then if you work well with composite, maybe you do more composite than ceramic. But in my opinion, I have a good partner to work like technician, very good technician, and I can deal best results with ceramics. And when I prepare, when I do a conservative prep, the wear of the enamel almost 0.1, 0.2, no more than this. Then if I compare ceramic with composite, of course, composite is more conservative, but I can prepare with more biological principles, and I can maintain more teeth. Then when I want in my clinic a good result, my first choice is ceramic, almost. But of course, I work a lot with composite too. Another point, if I need to cover the vestibular surface, my first decision almost is ceramic. If I have a partial, like a class 4 or class 3, or class 4 or class 3, I can do composite. For me, is better. Then, I think the main point is, depends the profile of professional. And in my daily, I work a lot with ceramic because I can control the prep, I can control the wear of the enamel, and do ceramics like biological preparation. And of course, if I have a color, shade, and position, different kinds of alteration, I can do ceramic, but I can do composite too. I think that the choice is much more personal than scientific. Do you agree about that?
I do agree. I was just agreeing here with you because of I love composites, and so I usually make more composites than ceramics because it's easy in my daily practice. And I know you for using more ceramics than composites, and most of those cases we can achieve a similar result in many cases. Um, if I spend a lot of time doing my composites with all the details that the technician does the ceramics for you. But if I didn't have the time to make or the ability or the training to make composites in a very detailed way, probably my case would be much better if I did them with a very skilled technician. But I think you summarize it very well. In many of the cases, it's not a question of ceramic versus composites, ceramics or composites. You can use both depending on your ability, your the clinical characteristics of your daily life, the budget that the patient has, the kind of technician that you partner with. So that's something that is really nice to talk to everyone. I don't think also that we have ceramic versus composites. We have a result that the patient wants, and we want to do it in the most conservative way possible. And for that, many times, the question of which material is very much of a personal choice.
Another point, Leandro, sometimes the people usually say that composite is more democratic than ceramic. So, look, do 10 veneers in composite is not so easy. It's difficult. Then it's not so democratic. You need to train, need to understand the color, need to understand the shape. It's not so easy. And I think the thing is not so exactly. Not so exact. I can understand more. I need to understand more the veneers in ceramic or in composite to choose the best way to my patient. But I'll talk about that. How can I control the prep? How can I control the impression? How can I control the cementation? And then in the final of our lecture, we can talk about more about that. Well, I'm from Niterói, how Leandro explained. It's very small city, not so small, but small city close to Rio, 14 kilometers. We have a bay, Guanabara Bay, and Niterói stay on the other side of the Guanabara Bay. We have a big bridge, about 14 kilometers connecting Niterói to Rio, and you can cross by car or you can cross across by boat, by ferry. It's a beautiful place to live. I like it here. I live in front of the sea, and I can see the view of Rio de Janeiro. The best view to Rio is from Niterói. And I live here. I like to take photos in my apartment, and I like very much to live in Niterói. It's a beautiful city, it's a good city to visit. If you want to visit Brazil, you need to visit Niterói. It's a small city close to Rio. Okay? You please send me a message. Let's try some tour here to know the beach and something like that. I work in a university, Federal Fluminense University is a public university in Niterói. I work there in the general dentistry in the last year in the dentistry course. Well, but today we talk about veneers, and I try to organize my ideas to help you in your daily practice. Our idea here is to create a good protocol to work with ceramic veneer. How can I work it well? How can I work with protocol, step by step, without repetition, just to do the things one time? It's my first idea, help you to work easier. Then, I usually say that you have 5 points very important to work with indirect restoration. Not just veneer, but crawl or do you want. The first one is predictable. I need to know, I need to organize my ideas to know the steps, to know the final results. Second point, I need to prepare. I need to understand the preparation. I think that we learn it with some mistakes. We learn it, an example, with sequence of diamond bursts. First this burst, second this burst, third this burst, and you don't know the principle of the preparation. And then, in my opinion, I need to learn the principle of the preparation. Why I need to do each kind of preparation, each kind of cervical lining, each kind of angle. I need to understand this. The third point is the transfer information. I need to take an impression, or I need to scan, or I need to select the color with precision, because I want to make a connection perfect between the dentist and the technician. The fourth point is the selection of the material. I need to understand the ceramic. Leandro is an expert in ceramic, in dental ceramics, então we can ask him for help us to choose the perfect material, because I can work with different ceramics and try to extract of this kind of ceramic the best part. An example, there is ceramics more beautiful, there are another ceramics more resistant. I can choose for each case. And the last, but not the least, adhesive cementation, which for me is the main point of the ceramic veneer. I need to take care a lot of this moment. I need to be relaxed to do this, because it's an important, very important point, because the last one. Then let's try to explain point by point. But first of all, I need to ask you, how many appointments do you need to make ceramic restoration? 1, 2, 3, 4. Because sometimes in Brazil, the dentist usually work with 80 appointments. Provisional, impression, trying the infrastructure, another trying color, ceramic, different appointments, and I work a lot to achieve the results, the equal results. In my opinion, I can concentrate these appointments in no more than four appointments. Are you understand me, Leandro? Are you okay?
Sure, we're following here and eager to learn on this protocol with less number of appointments. That eases a lot the whole process for sure.
Yes, that's the idea. I don't like to work. I like to drink wine and beer, and I need to work it less to have more money and drink better wines. That's the idea. Well, in the first appointment, I will do the photo. I will take an impression and understand what my patient wanted. That's a very important point. I need to know what's my patients wanted, to understand your expectation. In the second appointment, I will try the mock-up. Mock-up is a very, very good tool to our daily practice. I need to use it, the mock-up. Not so to motivation, but to understand the diagnostic. And of course, it's a very good guide to preparation, guide to surgery. In the third appointment, let's try about to understand the preparation, impression, provisional, of course, selection of the color. And the fourth appointment, the cementation. Let's try to explain its appointment in different workflow. I can work with digital workflow or conventional or no digital workflow. It's the same. It's the same thing. You can use different tools, but the same protocol. An example, and maybe a good idea is to mix the protocol. In Brazil, it's very expensive, the scanner. I think that in Brazil, no more than 2 or 3% of dentists have the scan. No more, 2 or 3%, because it's a very expensive technology. Then in Brazil, we It's much more common working with the traditional workflow, impression, and but you can mix the area. For example, if you don't have scan, you can send your patients to do the scan another place, pay by that. You will have with you your digital model. You can decide to do an example, a digital WhatsApp, or if you want, you can print this model and do your WhatsApp with your hand. Look, you can mix these 2 points. You can see, you can start with impression, you can scan your model, you can print your model, you can WhatsApp with your hand, or if you want, you can take a scan of your teeth, create a digital model, print your model, WhatsApp with your hand, or if you want, you can take an impression with a initial model, scan your model and WhatsApp in digital tools. You make a digital WhatsApp and you can print your WhatsApp. You can see, you can do different ways to have the same thing. Nowadays, I have the scan and I work almost 100% with digital workflow, but I'm learning a lot of the traditional workflow because the majority of the dentists in Brazil work with the traditional workflow. Well, and then it's very important to understand that I can choose the workflow digital or not digital, but the way is the same. An example, in the first appointment, I will take a photo, digital photo, okay? I will take an impression, maybe traditional impression or digital impression, and I will do the WhatsApp traditional or digital. In my opinion, if you want to start it in the digital workflow, you need to start with WhatsApp. Take an impression, no digital impression, take an impression, send the model to your technician, and try to start with digital planification. For me, is the best way to start. And then with this planification, I can, example, share with my technician a photo of the face of my patient, and of course, the model, the digital model too. Then I can mix the 2D photos with a 3D model and can mix the photo and our model and plan our changing of the shape, the color, the size. And it's much better to see. Our patient can see, can give the opinion. Oh, I don't like very much. It's good. It's very round and not square. I like it. You can share with your patient the ideas. And then if your patient says, okay, it's good, I can print the model. Then to arrive here, I can use the digital workflow or the conventional workflow. The way the same, different tools, but the same way. With this WhatsApp or with this model printed, I will do the mock-up in the second appointment. To understand the workflow, let's show here some clinical case. Let's start with this clinical case. I love this clinical case. Renata is a good patient, a good girl, and she had two class 4 restoration in the central scissors, with no volume, needing with a small volume on the buccal surface, and then we decided to cover the vestibular surface, the buccal surface, decided to cover with composite restoration to ceramic restoration. Before that, we need to work with the surgical core lengthening because the teeth are different in the margin, gingival margin. Then you do that in my office and arrive here. You can observe the 15-day post-operative period. Here we are going to wait 15 days to do the ceramic restoration. You need to wait 3 months to do the ceramic restoration. Then you take an impression to do our mock-up. What is the function? What is the function of our mock-up? First of all, diagnostic, to understand if the form, the shape is okay. Second point is motivation, to motivate my patient. Oh yes, you will be okay, beautiful, I like it. And the second and third point is a guide to surgery, example, if you want, and a guide to preparation. It's a very important tool to guide your preparation. Then I need to understand that the mock-up will help you to prepare your teeth more conservatively, to do a biological preparation with mock-up. Then, just an example with another clinical case, an example, a traditional model, I will do a traditional wax-up, look that the workflow is the same, and then I will take an impression with putty material, and with light material. I like to work with put and irregular. An example, put, irregular material. You can do in the same time, or you can do like a correct impression. Take an impression with put material, create a space, and then the regular material. Take an impression, and then let's do the mock-up in our patient. Here, we are using Luxa Tape Star. It's a very good material. Bisacryl resin from DMG. I like so much. I used to work for a long time. And are you trying our guide, our silicone guide, and then we'll fill with bisacryl. It's very important to start it in the incisal area until the cervical area. Incisal, cervical, incisal, cervical, incisal, cervical. And then I will fill our silicone guide, try in the mouth, wait for 1 minute. After 1 minute, started to remove the excess. You remove the excess after 1 minute, and we wait more 4 or 5 minutes. I prefer to wait 4 or 5 minutes to stay well cured, stay more flat without excess. And then after 5 minutes, you will remove this silicone guide. Think with me. I want to maintain this bisacryl in the mouth. Then, before remove the silicone guide, I will create a space between the silicone guide and the bisacryl. I will create a small space, look, creating a small space between the silicone guide and bisacryl, and we will remove the silicone guide. Well, it's okay. The first objective, diagnostic, yes, the shape is okay, the new shape is okay. Now I can show to my patient, to motivate my patient. Look, I can show to my patient to motivate my patient. Look, this, oh yes, I like it. I want to spend money with you, doctor. I want to spend money with you. That's the point. Yes, and then after that, you come back to our clinical case. Okay, we are come back to our clinical case. I mix some clinical case just to understand the steps. And in the third appointment, the first appointment, we do the photos, take the impression, and do the wax-up. In the second appointment, we do the mock-up. And then, in the third appointment, we will start the preparation. Before start the preparation, it's very important to select the color. Then, here, a very important tip. hang the child guide in front of the patient with 3 colors. Edge to edge, aligned in the natural teeth. You put it this way. It's very important because to take the photo with the same light. Then edge to edge, take a photo. I like to use it 1, 2, or 3, 4 different colors to compare. My technician can compare. After that, I will take my WhatsApp, take an impression, and do the same. Do the mock-up. Look, the teeth is more beautiful, with more volume. The incisal edge a little bit more longer. And then I will do the preparation through the mock-up. It's a very important point. But before the preparation through the mock-up, I need to understand the idea. Here you can see the full visualization of the future aesthetic outcome. It's a very important point to us. And then with this mock-up, I start to do the preparation. Our patients will validate the mock-up in terms of design, color, and I will keep it in the mouth to use it as a preparation guide to control the depth of preparation. Then, the first question that I will do to my friend Leandro or to you that are you listening us, how much I need to prep to make a veneer? Maybe it's the main question. Every day I have this question for a student or a friend. How much I need to prep to make a veneer? Well, before that, I will say to you that nowadays I need to understand 3 important points. Not so space, but insertion and delimitation. I need to understand these 3 points to understand the veneer preparation. Then, how much I need to prep to make a veneer? Well, I'm assuming to create a protocol, not like protocol, but idea. In normal tooth, no more than 0.3, oh, sorry, here I have a 0.3, 0.5. It's better, no? Yes. No more than 0.3, 0.4. But if I am working through the mock-up, sometimes I will wear 0.1 or no more 0.2 the enable because I control the preparation with the mock-up. If I have a dark tooth, it's a different way to decide, maybe 0.9, 1.2. In dark tooth, my opinion, I need to share this I lost the word, a espessura, thickness, sorry, thank you, my professor, my English professor. In dark tooth, I need to share this thickness with my technician. Talk about that, maybe because they will do my ceramic. Another important point is to decide the insertion. Of course, I want to do the insertion horizontal, but it's difficult to do that. Vertical, no, because it's too total crown. Sometimes, or almost always, we work with oblique insertion, something like that. And understand what is the best delimitation. Well, then we do the mock-up and we started to do the preparation. Here we static mock-up with a bisacryl. Okay. The first step of preparation is creation groove of orientation. Just a minute, Leandro. Creating groove of orientation with roundabout tips diamond burrs. My opinion, the burr must be positioned parallel with the vestibular surface, penetrating approximately a third of the diameter of the active tip. Then, if I want to penetrate just to a third, here in this case, I will use the diamond burrs with diameter de 0.9 millimeters, 0.9 millimeters. Okay, I will keep the mockup in the mouth, create the grooves. In incisal edge, I will prepare about 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter. After that, I will mark the bottom of the horizontal groups with a pencil or permanent marker. It's very important step because after I started the preparation, the mockup can fall down, can break. Then to keep the groove, I will mark it with a pencil or a permanent marker. Another very important point after the groove and after the mark is to prepare the vestibular surface with taper burrs, of course with a round end, with the objective to union the horizontal grooves. In a very important point here, the reduction must be performed in three different inclinations: cervical, middle, and incisal third. Then, when I will to reduction the vestibular face surface, I can control the position in the cervical area, in the middle area, in the incisal area, with three inclinations. It's a very important point. Something like that, working in cervical area, working in middle and incisal. I need to work with this kind of movement. Look, with your hand. You need to train. You need to practice in your home. Something like that. Look. Cervical, middle, and incisal. Cervical, middle, and incisal. Look, you can see the mock-up and you can see the grooves. You will prepare until the groove ended. Very slow because I need to maintain enable. I need to preserve teeth. It's a very important objective. Look, in the middle third, after in the vertical third, after in the incisal third. And in this moment, I usually work with fine burrs, the red burrs, because it's easier after to create a good surface. And then I will decide to keep my cervical line supragengival, gun level, or intraclavicular. It's a very important decision. I maintain supragengival in not static areas, of course, for example, lingual surface, palatal surface. But when you have to change the color, you need to put your cervical line intraclavicular. Of course, if you have changed the color, intraclavicular. If I have veneers like that without color alteration, just to change the shape, I will keep our cervical lining in gum level. For me, is the best situation. In incisal edge, I will do this termination in butt joint, not overlap, but butt joints, very important. What more I need to do about that? I need to talk about that. We'll keep the at gun prep at gun level. Okay. Perfect.
Rafael,
Oi.
I'll just ask a couple questions here. So I think that what you showed to us until now on deciding on how to perform the preparation and on perfectly explaining the importance of this additive mock-up. So, and you in preparing through the mock-up so that you actually wear less enamel or less tooth structure. It's something really amazing, and we have learned a lot of that from the very nice papers from some decades ago from the team of Dr. Gurel in Turkey, and many other names that evolved so much the veneer preparations. And in your practice, you're showing this very nice case in which we didn't have a very dark substrate. Yeah, we just had almost a normal substrate. She needed volume. She had some previous composite restorations there. In this case, what you're showing to us is that you're not going to place your determination of your preparation intrasulcularly. You're always, when you have the possibility to perform your termination supragingivally or at gum level, that will ease all your next steps, the steps of impression, steps of adhesive cementation. Did I understand it correctly?
Yes, it's true.
So we have to agree that in darkened substrates, when I have a dark tooth, you already showed us and taught us that we need to have more space for a larger ceramic thickness that can actually opacify that. This is the case in which you have probably the hardest challenge, because you're going to have uh, more invasive preparation. Probably you're going to expose dentin as your substrate, usually explain, and also you have a harder challenge on performing the preparation, because you're going to be inside the sulcus, subgingivally usually. This is probably the cases you of course you see them, but you don't want to see them every day, like darkened substrate. These are some very challenges for the daily practice, aren't they?
Yes, that is it's a big challenge. But the point is, to do this case, of course, I need to understand more about the principles. It is a very important discussion here, because when I learned about the veneers, I learned something like that. If you have more than 50% of dentin in your vestibular surface, you need to do total crop. I learned something about that 20 years ago. Nowadays, for me, it's not true. It's a mistake. I prefer to have a veneer indenting that have a total crop. For me, it's better to maintain more enable more tooth, of course. And then the first point, of course, yes. If I have a preparation in dark tooth, I will arrive in denting. But what's the problem? You are expert in adhesion. You know that you have good materials to make a good adhesion in denting. Of course, I prefer to work in enable. Of course, I'm not stupid. I prefer to work in enable, but if you have exposure to denting, let's work it to do a good adhesion there. It's the first point. Then, always veneers. No total crop. Of course, if I have a fracture or another point, but with a dark tooth, almost better. Always veneer. The second point is to prepare intraclavicular or intrasubdental. It's more difficult, but it's very important when you work in dark tooth. Okay, I answered you.
Yeah, sure. And since you gave me the opportunity to speak here again, we have a couple questions that came up to us here that I think that we can answer them right now. There's one question where they ask, which software do you design and analyze the preparations? I think this question came up when you showed planning of the case from your lab technician. That depends on your lab technician preference, I think, right?
I
The
see.
software that they use.
Yes, because yes, the people who will plan the new shape is my technician. You can do that. You like a dentist can do that. But in my part today, I didn't do. Why? Because I had to spend a lot of time there to plan, and then I sent to my technician.
Mm.
Exocad is a good program, a good software. Another one is Nemotech. The Nemotech is a good software too. And maybe it's not the difference. Maybe the more important is the people who will do the planning, not the software. But
It's much more by the lab side, which software he's used to work when he plans. That's great.
what you said, so sorry.
It's much more a decision of the lab, which software he or she, the technician, uses in their daily practice. I think that this answers this first question. Another one on what are the techniques that you use to achieve such a very thin preparation, like a 0.3? I think this has everything to do with the additive mockup. Let's say the mockup is 0.2 millimeters thick because you're adding volume to the tooth, and then you use a zero point 0.9 diameter round burr to
Yeah,
perform the grooves with 1/3 of the thickness, so that makes 0.3 grooves. But since you have 0.2 in the mockup, it just goes 0.1 actually removing tooth structure. So I think this very thin preparations, this is a very big evolution of the veneers, and on the last years, it's something that you can finally control, choosing the correct burr, the correct diameter of the burr, as you showed us, and also exploring the possibility of preparing on the or through the mock-up. So you always have this addition of volume before you prepare. And now one question that I have for you, I don't know if you want to answer right now, or you think it will
no,
be
let's
very,
answer.
very much or a little bit later. They ask about rotated teeth. If you have rotated teeth, how can you manage to make a preparation and make sure the teeth will not be sensitive after you perform the preparation? Do you have the problems with sensitivity after preparations, especially when you do such, I would say, less invasive preparations? Is it something that you are seeing in your clinical practice, Rafael? And what do you perform to have less problems of sensitivity after preparation? This is the question from our colleague, Dr. Fom.
The first question is about the teeth in different position, inclinate teeth. You need, first of all, you to correct the position with a diamond burst, and then after that, started the preparation. And of course, if you correct the teeth before and start the preparation after, we remove more tooth, more teeth, more enamel, more dentin. Okay. The best idea is to work with the orthodontic before as the best way to prepare this teeth. Use an orthodontic and after correct the position and make the preparation. Then the first question, maybe this is the answer. The second question about the sensitivity voice cementation, that is the question. I have maybe 3 or 4, I don't know, maybe 5, 3, voice sensitivity cementation. Always, when I have the installations before. An example, class 3 or uh, class 5, big composite installation before. I don't know why, but I think that the tube was restored before, prepared after, taking pressure, provisional, a lot of different traumas, and I have some clinical cases. I have sensitivity before cementation. What I need to do to control that? Try to control my diamond burst. Always working with the new diamond burst to avoid heat. Try to make the cementation with the self-etching adhesive indenting. I think this is a good idea, of course. Another point, another point very important, try to control the occlusion before the cementation. Because I have one clinical case that 2 days after the cementation, okay, 3 days, okay. After 1 week, it started as sensitive, more sensitive, because the lateral incisor keeping the probatory contact, then the sensitive started after cementation. Then control the wear, of course, using diamond burrs and new diamond burrs. Control the cementation, of course. Try to, what is difficult? If you make a preparation indenting, you need to take care. I don't know if I have the answer, but I try to explain more if you want.
Sure. I know you have some more clinical cases, and I think and then maybe you show a little bit on that. I think it was very nice this first round of questions here, because I'm seeing here by a Q&A box that our colleagues, they lost the fear of placing questions. So now we have a lot of questions here that I will organize them so we can answer in the next session in a few minutes. Please go on with the next cases, Rafael. And then if you allow me, I will interrupt you later on the next point of the presentation so you can answer a little more questions, okay?
Okay. Sorry. Here is a very important point. Look, a slide transfer and finish slide. So point 2, point 3, just one point. Leandro, it's impossible to prepare with point 3, with point 2, with point 5. No, you prepare around point 3, point 4, point 5. We are woman, no, okay. Oh. For the Instagram, point 3 exactly. But for the live, no, around point 3. Then the proximal margin should be extended. Look, to the interproximal contact without breaking. I will extend to the interproximal contact. Here I can see the finish line in front of the contact point. But we'll see later, if I have diastemas, I need to change this preparation. Then I will choose the color of the substrate, very important step 2, selection the substrate color, the same way of initial color selection. Make the provisional, I can do it with the bisacryl or with composite. Here you can see a lot of principles of the veneer preparation. Look, you can see the proximal line in front of the contact point. You can see rounded internal angles. You can see biological preparation with the shape of the tooth. You can see a lot of good points. Now, our technician copied our WhatsApp with a feldspathic ceramic. You can see we started to work with a digital workflow, print this model. Our technician did the WhatsApp. We take the impression, traditional impression, and do the ceramic. Here, our ceramic arrived. We were trying. We started this trying with the water. Look, and you can see that the ceramic mixed with our dentin and our enamel. like the same thing. After that, okay, the color is okay. I will try with trying cement. An example, Vitic is a cement from DMG, is a photo cure cement. It's our first choice to cement veneers, is photo cure cement. You choose the color, maybe color bleach or A1 or B1, very clear, or clear. There is a cement, the name is clear, very good. And after that, I will treat the ceramic, and after that, I will treat the tooth to make the cementation. To explain the treatment of ceramic, I will need help of my friend, expert in ceramics, in dental ceramics, my friend Leandro Yuga.
Oh, thanks, Rafael. And I will enjoy this moment of talking a little bit about the surface preparation of ceramics and already answer some more questions here. So someone asked here, what kind of ceramics do we usually use when we perform those ceramic restorations? Usually glass ceramics, ceramics that you can etch. So in this case, Rafael told us he used a feldspathic ceramic. His technician used a feldspathic ceramic that probably the most beautiful ceramic veneers that we have with more details are performed with this ceramics. However, we see each more in the daily practice the use of monolithic ceramics that you just inject them or you mill them out of CAD/CAM blocks. So you can also use for veneers leucite-based glass ceramics, lithium disilicate-based glass ceramics like Emax that many people know, for example, some silicate zirconia glass ceramics. So you need to understand which ceramic your technician is using, and this is something that is really nice to discuss with him. So that you also know how to treat the inner surface of the ceramic to perform the adhesive cementation. So, but most of the glass ceramics, they're the etchable ceramics that you can etch with hydrofluoric acid. So usually we start the first step on the surface of the inner surface of the ceramic with the hydrofluoric acid. So you use a 10%, 5% according to the ceramic you have and the kind of acid you have available in your country. It changes a little bit. Here in Brazil, we usually use around 10% fluoric acid. In many countries, you just have 5%. And the time that you etch the ceramic is according to the type of ceramic. So if you have a lithium disilicate like Emax, it's just 20 seconds of etching. If you have a feldspathic, it's around 60 to almost 2 minutes of etching. So it is according to the ceramic you use. You can use many types according to your experience and your lab experience. Then you need to clean the surface after etching. So you use water, you remove the acid, you clean it a lot, and then to remove some debris from the etching phase, you can either use phosphoric acid, as Rafael is showing there. You leave phosphoric acid for some time, and then you rinse it off. But it's an optional step. You can only use water and air spray, and it's also effective. You can put in an ultrasonic bath, and it's also very effective. So you need to clean the etched surface. Once you have etched and cleaned the surface, and I know that in some countries, dentists do not have the hydrofluoric acid at the office. Sometimes the lab etches and send it to you already clean, so you don't need to do that step. Then you silanate. You use the silane, and the silane is really important because it creates a chemical link between the ceramic and the adhesive or the resin cement that you're going to use. So you silanate. After you silanate, you need to dry the solvents and the water that is formed in the silane reaction on the surface. And when you have the etched and silanate ceramic, then you need to link it with your resin cement. You can place a layer of a bonding agent, usually a hydrophobic bonding agent. That's an optional, because if you use very flowable materials like veneer cements. We have some, we know from some research that sometimes you don't even need to place the bonding agent before, you can just go for diluting agent. For that, we advise you to check the instructions for use of your resin cement, the one that you use. For veneers, where you have light passing through the ceramic, usually light cured cements will be better because they polymerize better, and also because you control when you want them to polymerize. You have control of the working time. And then you place the ceramic on the treated tooth. For showing us how you treat the surface of the tooth, I give back to Rafael the word here and the presentation of the case.
Thank you, my friend. I would like to speak in English like you, but I try. Look, you asked me because, what kind of ceramic I usually use. I usually use the feldspathic. But if I could give you, not you, the people that are listening us, a device trying to use the monolithic ceramics. Try to organize your daily practice to use the monolithic ceramics. More comfortable, is more safe, it's easier to create a protocol with your technician. Then my advice, started to use monolithic ceramics. Well,
Rafael, I think it's mute your microphone. We're listening to it. Now we're listening back.
so, do you listen about the ceramic?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Then protecting the gun, trying the ceramic, and of course the traditional cementation, adhesive cementation. Here we are working in enamel or in superficial denting, then total etch, rinse, or 15 second, 30 second rinse, and applying a adhesive bond with primer. In my opinion, if you have preparation, you don't know how to control if you have enamel or denting. If you have a small preparation, maybe you can have a denting there. And then it's safer to use adhesive with the primer and bond, for example, together. Total etch, clean. Here, another very important point to choose your light curing units. If your spot in your light cure unit is smaller than your teeth, you need to do 2 points of photocure. An example here, we are working with Gran Valo, that the spot of Gran Valo is very big. You can cover all the tooth. But if you have a light cure unit with your spot smaller, you can need to do 2 points of photocure in cervical area and incisional area for 40 seconds in each area. A lot of light. Light's very good to our adhesive cementation. Then after the cementation, I will remove the excess. I will show you a video, maybe it's better. Look, after 15 days, our post-operative is good. You can see the proximal area. You can see the proximal area. Of course, the smile is much better than the initial smile. Here, just to share with you a video. Sorry, the subtitle is in Portuguese, but I try to translate to you. After preparation, through the mockup, I will send the impression to our technician, and here we work with disilicate, monolithic disilicate. The first step is trying the veneer without cement, without water, just trying the veneer. After that, we'll put a little bit of water, just 1 drop or 2 drops. You can see that our veneer will mix with our tooth. After that, we'll try with the trying cement. As you know, the photocure cement, you have the trying cement and the cement. And in the trying cement, it's very important to stabilize your veneers, keeping the position correct, and very important to simulate the color of the final cement. Então, we can simulate the color, the final cement, and to keep in the position, the adequate position, our veneer. Trying cement is very easy to rinse, to wash. Is a hydrosoluble,
Hydrosoluble.
hydro
Soluble.
hydrosoluble. Thank you. Then you do the cementation using always a rubber dam. Is our nowadays is our philosophy to work with rubber dam. After the cementation of these two centers, let's start the cementation of lateral scissor and canine. Protecting the adjacent teeth with Teflon. Here we understand that we work in enamel and superficial denting. Then our option is total etch. But if you want, you can work with self-etching in cervical area, is an option too. Remove the acid, rinse for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, rinse a lot. As you can see, we are protecting the central incisor and the premolars too. After that, we remove the humidity and we'll do the adhesion with the adhesives with primer and bond. I don't know if you think about that, Leandro, but here in this situation where the denting is very superficial, what's your choice? Self-etching or total etching?
I think you can use both techniques. It's really not that of a deal in this kind of denting. I love self-etching for denting. It's usually when I have lots of denting, it's my preferred protocol. But in this case is where you have lots of enamel. I think the most important is etching enamel. And that little denting there, superficial dentings, will not cause you any big issue, any problem if you etch it. And I think that I will follow exactly what you did.
So here we don't have the problem. No, here is not the problem. The problem is when I have a deep denting. Then I like to work with a brush to remove the cement. Look, and another important point is to establish your veneer with any kind of tool that you maintain keep your veneer position, clean the excess. I like to work with a dental floss. A dental floss is like a Teflon. There is some dental floss very thin, like a Teflon, and I will clean the cement from vestibular to palatal. It's very important direction. We started cleaning the cement in the vestibular in this way to palatal area. Look, keeping the veneers in position with your fingers or with any kind of instruments. You can choose the best way. And then clean the interproximal, of course, photo curing. I like to use a rubber dam because it's very easy to control the blood, the saliva, of course, to remove the excess. And then our clinical case after cementation, six veneers from canine to canine. Here our Instagram, please, if you can follow us. You can share more videos there, more tips and things like that. Do you have any doubts, Leandro? Any question? No, it's okay.
We have some questions here from the audience that we can discuss here. I already answered one of them in the text. Probably you can see. They ask about the use of the phosphoric acid after the hydrofluoric acid on the inner surface of the ceramic. I explained it's one of the possibilities of cleaning. You can do ultrasonic bath, you can do just water spray from like 30 seconds, or you can use the phosphoric acid. There's one question also on the kind of acid that you use. On tooth is phosphoric, okay? On tooth is the phosphoric acid that you're gonna find probably around a concentration of 35 to 37%, depending on the brand that you use. Rafael, there's one question here that is interesting. We discussed a little bit earlier on dark substrates. Now, if tooth is dark, that we need deeper preparations and that it make things a little bit more, I would say, challenging. What do you consider a dark tooth? That's a very nice question for Dr. Thung. What tooth's color is dark on your concept? Or it depends on the contrast with the color that you want actually as the end result of your treatment.
I don't know if you understand. I don't know if you understand the question, but I try to explain.
What do you consider? Will you say A3 is dark, A4 is dark,
okay,
C4 is dark? And for example, if you have like a very dark or a medium dark color as a substrate, what does it change on the planning of your case, on the planning of your case?
You are an expert in composite. You are the guy in composite. You know that to opaque a dark tooth is very difficult. If I have one, example, if I have 10, for example, like tetracycline, dark after tetracycline, I can do a very thin composite or very thin veneers. I have a great result because it's easier to make opaque veneers. It's easy. The difficult is to start a opaque veneer and after transform in a translucent veneer, like a natural tooth. Then, first point, if I have one, it's much more difficult. Then, he said, A3 is a dark tooth. A3, yes. If you want to arrive in A1, yes. A4, yes. But the question is, how many I need to prepare, how much I need to prepare, to opaque this tooth. Then I need to share with my technician. An example, exists a rule or an example, a way, 0.3 per color. An example, if I have a tooth A2 and I want to arrive at A1.3. If I have A3 to arrive at A1.6, it's not a scientific, how can I say, scientific point. It's just a device, how can I say, a way. I think the best important point is to share with your technician. Why? Because there is some technician, very skills, that will do 0.6. Another ones need 1.2, an example. And then, if I have a color change, it's a dark tooth. I just want to understand how many colors I need to improve in this tooth to arriving in the color that I plan. Understand me?
Yes, I think it's perfect. So if it's a lot, it's very, very dark and I need to change many shades, it will be thicker. But who is also going to collaborate in this decision is my technician, because he knows actually what he needs to do and how much space he needs to pacify that substrate when he's applying the ceramic. And I think this communication between dentist and lab technician is something that is paramount for a nice final result. Another questions here, Rafael. When you have, for example, regions of a tooth that maybe is not well positioned, and that you see that at that point you don't have an additive mock-up, but on that point you're going to have to do some subtraction. You need to reduce the volume of the tooth, especially if you're changing position. Of course, we want to avoid that in most cases, but it happens. What could you say about regions of the planning that you do not have an additive mock-up and that you have to do some subtraction? How do you deal with this situation? I don't know if I made myself clear on posing the question.
Yes.
Uh,
You can do a digital workshop, maintain this area. You can do the workshop, the mock-up, and you can see over the mock-up the area that need to wear. Then you can apply the mock-up and can wear this area. A way. Another way, you can prepare before, after do the mock-up. But it's a very important point. If I have an example, a central scissor, not in the right position, I need to, before, correct the position, and after, start the preparation. And of course, I will prepare more, enable more dentin. I don't know how can I solve this problem. Then, what I usually to do, I prepare to adequate the position, and after start the preparation.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. In non-ideal cases, in cases that we don't have the perfect initial situations, it's hard to have a perfect solution for them. So in those cases, yes, you need to prepare a little bit more. You mentioned that in some cases we need to have deeper preparations, and sometimes we expose more dentin. And you even mentioned that years ago, we have almost the same age, in spite of, I look older than Rafael, but he's a little bit older than I am, that we had the indication when we have, for example, more than 50% of dentin exposure to place a crown and not a veneer. And this is changing a lot. Veneers are much more conservative, and I agree 100% with you. There's one question that interesting here, is that when you have cases that you have a lot of dentin exposure, if you perform immediate dentin sealing on that cases, for those colleagues that maybe do not understand the term immediate dentin sealing, if you seal and if you place the adhesive plus an hydrophobic layer of adhesive resin on dentin just after preparation to have the best bonding quality possible before making the impression. I do it sometimes, but of course, as an extra step. Is it something that you do usually in your routine when you have a lot of dentin exposure, Rafael?
In veneers, for me, it's not so common. It's not common because we try to control the preparation in superficial dentin. But it's very common in retreatments of veneers. Retreatments, when I have to remove a veneer.
Wait. Then you just mentioned something that we can answer another question. How do you remove those veneers? Do you have experience, for example, in using laser to remove?
Yes.
I know that you have.
Oh,
Please talk about this experience of removing it with laser, then exposing a deep dentin, and then using IDS. That will be a complete answer here.
of course, just to complete the first question. Yes, I like the IDS, but much more important for me in the posterior tooth when I do a onlay in two veneers. It's not a very important point. Because I can control the dentin. Of course, if I have a preparation, a specific point with a very depth dentin, maybe let's protect dentin. But in 99% of the case, no. I don't work with Medici dental sealing. But when I do heat treatment, yes, because always or almost always, when I remove the veneers, I see a denting exposure. Then I need to control this area. And to remove the veneers, I like to use the laser. I don't have the equipment, but I have the experience. I have a friend of mine and a Cecilia that have the equipment, and then I work together. It's a very good experience to remove the veneers with laser de Erbil. I don't know the name, laser de Erbil, because the Erbil have interaction with the cement, and the cement will melt, and you can remove the veneers. Not so easy, but something like that. But I have a lot of experience removing with burrs too, with diamond burrs. And we normally use a light, a UV light. You can apply the UV light in your mouth. You can see the different fluorescence between the teeth, the ceramic, the cement, the dentin. You can remove it with care, of course, carefully, to remove the ceramic without wear more dentin or more enable. But nowadays the best way for me is to work with laser.
That's nice. That's nice. I haven't removed with laser yet, but I've seen some cases that you did together with Dr. Ana Cecilia Aranha, and it's really fantastic how it eases the whole process. I think that in the future we'll have more accessibility to this technology and in our daily practice. Someone is asking, is UV light, the ultraviolet light, if you put an ultraviolet light or this dark light sometimes that we have some, you can see the difference in fluorescence. Someone asked here in the questions, is a UV light, ultraviolet light. You have many brands, many types. There's one, some light curing units have an attachment that you can put in the point that will emit a little bit of UV light. Rafael, another question here. When you do preparations, which burrs or sizes of burrs that you usually use? You talked us about round burrs to make the grooves, and then tapered burrs with round end to perform. I think the question is much more about checking the depth with the round burrs. In your daily burr kit, the rounded burrs to define which one?
1.9, another one with 1.2 and 0.9. Okay. If I prepare with parallel with the teeth, I will prepare the third of these burrs, about 0.3. I can use another burrs with different design, but I prefer this because it's easier to use. No, it's cheaper. Then that's the way.
Diamond wheels, like 2 or 3 diamond wheels to make the grooves, is also an option, and actually it will work on the same logic, the same way.
Idea.
Us, right?
Another tip that I want to share: if you will prepare a conservative preparation, after the grooves, started to use the fine burrs. The red one is easier to control the preparation and to have a flat surface after the initial preparation. After the preparation with diamond burrs, I usually the multi-laminate burrs, about 18 blades. The multi-laminate burrs is a good idea too.
To finish the preparation, because there is one question, interesting one, that is actually that: when am I satisfied, when I'm happy with my preparation and can go to the impression phase? What features, which characteristics of your preparation? So that would you observe and make a checklist so you can say, now I can do my impression?
First of all, nowadays I'm never be happy with my preparation. I ever say, oh, I need to improve, I need to improve, I need to improve. I think it's an important point to develop your skills, your work. Let's check space, recorded data, insertion, and delimitation. I need to see the delimitation. I need to see the insertion. I need to have space. I will check with prep guides, an example with silicon prep guides. I will check about that. And I want to see rounded angles, internal angles, rounded, the externals, like 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And another important point, a flat surface, not polished surface, a flat, without grooves or something like that, because it's very easy to make the cementation. Maybe it's that I need to check the spacing, share the limitation, rounded angles, and a flat surface. And the impression, oh, I need to see here, another point. If you buy a scan, okay, when you make a scan of your preparation, you see a lot of defects. No, but is there real life? No,
So
and
you actually, you know when it can go through, but if you are a little bit of a perfectionist, you observe a lot when you do that. And you need to know that some of those imperfections may have no influence on the final result. Well, I'm going just for some of the last questions, but we have a time schedule that is almost arriving there. There's one question here on how to prepare the palatal side or the lingual side. Usually you do not involve whenever you can because you do not overlap. You usually end with butt joint, right? So very rare cases that you overlap, right?
But choice is the same way to prepare the incisal wedge. It's more comfortable for the ceramic, for the technician. It's more conservative for the tooth. It's more easier for us. Is the best terminal incisal wedge.
If you're involving a lot of palatal, you're almost going to a crown, and there's a limitation of the cases and more invasive. And then it's not our topic today because we won't have time to discuss, right? Another one that is now here is, for example, if you have a nice tooth, there's not much of a color alteration, and you said that you usually prepare it supragingivally. Then the question that comes there is that in those cases, wouldn't it be nice to go a little bit subgingival? So in the future, when you have a retraction of the gingival level, you already have that covered. Or do you think this is a nice strategy, or maybe it will actually bring you a faster retraction of the gingival level because of the difficulty of working with a finish line subgingivally?
I don't understand the question very well. Can you repeat it for me, Leandro?
If you have a normal tooth, okay, no, it's not darkened. And you told us that usually in those cases, you prefer to work with your termination line supragingivally. And the question is, why not placing it subgingivally intraclavicular so that when in the future you have a retraction of the gum level, it's already covered by your veneer?
Why not to put in the subgingival? Because you accelerate the process of retraction.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you can avoid, it's better. Also, it's more comfortable for us to work in supragingival. Really, you can see sometimes you prepare one veneer, you can see some places you are intraclavicular, another place you are supragingival, another place, not the big problem if I have no dark tooth. The problem is when I have a tooth with color change. And then I still doing the preparation supragingival in tooth that do not have a color alteration. Just to show you, Leandro, how can I finish the cervical, the incisal line? Look. You can see the...
No, it's where we're seeing the not the presentation slide. No, now it's seeing. Now we're seeing. Now we're seeing. Perfect.
Here, you can see the incisal line. Look here in the proximal tube, because here you need to involve the proximal area. Always we work with a 90-degree angle here in this area. It's easier. Look here, here, here. But joint termination.
Perfect, perfect. And we the two last questions that we have here. One is, as a preparation guide, what do you usually use? You use the mock-up that you have, an impression on the mock-up, and then you cut the silicone guide usually in the middle of the tooth, and then you can watch the difference between the mock-up and the preparation. Is it
Yes,
the way you do like you're showing there? See,
yes.
so there's one question that is being answered in our slides here.
I started the preparation through the mock-up. After, we'll check with the prep guide.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, there's another question that came up here. We're gonna just be one of our last questions. One, do you polish your preparations before impression? And two, do you recommend night guards for all veneer restorations?
Night guard to protect the parafunction.
Yes, occlusal devices, placas.
Leandro, are you my friend?
I know it's a very hard question.
Do you know what's the problem? I don't know if my patient have parafunction or no or not. It's impossible to control because today my patient is healthy, but 3 months after, maybe not. Protection our patient is more comfortable. Is more comfortable for us. Look, I'll give you a protection and you need to protect your veneers. But it's not necessary. If I don't have a parafunction, not necessary. I can use it just to the control. In the control appointments, the follow-up appointments, I usually check the occlusion to see if everything is fine. As the another question?
If you polish your preparations before.
No. Look, Leandro, I'm a clinician. I like to work well. I like to work with quality, but I can't see the difference in the cementation, the final cementation, or in the final result when I polish my preparation and I just use a multi-laminated burst. The result is the same.
The multi-bladed burr that you use for finishing your preparation already gives you a very smooth surface. So I agree with you that polishing it later is, I would say, not an essential step. And Rafael, since we already went a little bit over our time schedule, and we do not have any open questions, just the last one. Someone asked about your book. This book here, I promised I would show the name of the book. Is in English will be Anterior Static Rehabilitation. It's a huge book here you can see, and it's in Portuguese and Spanish. Unfortunately, you don't have that in English, right, Rafael?
No, in English, no.
Not yet.
In Spanish, what? Sorry?
Not yet in English.
Not yet. Let's try. In Spanish, you have the online version. You can buy the in Spanish online, but the Portuguese just different.
That's nice. My friend, thank you so much for this nice presentation, this nice discussion. And I hand over the word to Dr. Effenberger, so she can make her final comments.
Yeah, first I have a very personal comment. As most of you know, I can at least read very well Portuguese, and I don't have the book as well, so I need to get one. Another reason to get there. Yeah, thank you so much. I think it was a good introduction into how to start the, let's say, veneer business, and really from planning to preparation works. And I think it was very helpful and very well explained. And thank you, Rafael, for the fantastic lecture and sharing your knowledge with us and your experience. And Leandro, for being our host today. Of course, it was my pleasure to give this responsibility to you. And I think you made an outstanding job. And having said this, I would like to thank you a lot. Muito obrigada. And I would like to hand over to Julia.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you to you. Thank you also to the speakers, to Susanne, to all the participants and listening us and asking so many was again. And as you can see, and as already will be back by the end of August, beginning of September. And you can see what we've planned next on Interdentale. So you can see our next semester, our plannings there on Instagram. And we will use the time to find new interesting topics for you. And brings me to the last point. So when you close the session now, there will be a new browser opening up in your new window in your browser. There's just 4 questions you for topics and how you like to, and like to my winter session. So it would to and it's just maximum 2 to 3 minutes to answer. Thank you in advance. So tomorrow there will be another German webinar in which discussing the topic of MIH in dentistry. Professor Dr. Katrin Bekes will be the speaker, and we will start tomorrow at 6 p.m. So for our participants who like to join, understand the German language, so we're more than happy to see you tomorrow. Otherwise, we will meet after the summer break. Thank you very much for joining us. Last belongs to the speakers.
So thank you so much, Julia. Thank you.
To Leandro and Rafael.
Thank you, Dana, much friend Leandro, for the invitation. You are so generous with me. You are so friendly. Thank you, Leandro, for this opportunity. It's a big challenge for me, but much more easier with you. It's easier, it's good moment. Thank you.
Wanda, thanks for the opportunity of being together. Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Julia. Thanks, DMG, for organizing such a nice event. And I hope, thank you everyone for being from all over the world together with us in this morning here, afternoon for you probably, or evening. And I'm sure that we're going to meet in the future in other online or maybe present in local events in the future. So bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. So it's just us.
So it's ended. Thank you, Suzanne, once more. I hope you enjoyed, and we keep in touch. Okay.
Oh, can you send me Rafa's number?
Recording stopped.
Can you send me his telephone number that I
For
can
sure.
send him a message?
I'll send you in WhatsApp here his contact. Okay.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.